So how long does a knee replacement last? If you are someone who has had a knee replacement, or are someone who feels you may be on the cards for needing a knee replacement in the future, understanding how long a knee replacement may last for can be a really important factor to consider. And interestingly, this particular study took thousands of knee replacement surgeries over 15 years to give us a good understanding of what that might look like for you. But clinically as a physiotherapist, there's a piece of information that I think gets overlooked all the time when considering how long a knee replacement lasts for, that I also want to factor into the mix of this so that you have the best and most complete information to consider in regards to how long your knee replacement may actually last for. So let's get into it. One of the most common questions that's often asked about a knee replacement is how long does it actually last? And for most people, logically, we often rely on two really simple things. The first is the quality of the prosthesis, and the second is the skill of the surgeon putting in that prosthesis. But clinically as a physiotherapist, the single most important piece of information that I would hope anyone who has had a knee replacement or is scheduled to have a knee replacement in the future would know is that the knee that needs the replacement needs a replacement for a reason. It's not just that you have a bad joint or that you used it too much or that you're getting a little bit older, although those things do make some sense to a lot of people. When we take a big enough step back, we realize that the quality of how you load up that knee and how you've loaded up that knee for decades before you need the replacement may inform us as to how successful your replacement may be, but also help us understand how long that replacement may last for. And it goes without saying that as a physiotherapist, I would urge anyone who is up for a knee replacement or has had a knee replacement to take a step back and look at your leg as a whole and go looking for a bunch of things that aren't natural, like ankle stiffnesses, hip tightnesses, lower back dysfunction, hip weakness, the way that your legs actually move. Do your feet point out as opposed to pointing straight? All of these things which may not be knee specific things, but general things that influence how your knee is loaded. If you aren't considering those things, if you aren't working on addressing those things, despite the fact that you've replaced that knee, then in a way you've only really treated the symptom, you haven't treated the cause or the potential cause, whatever that may be for you. So while we're certainly about to talk about this study and discuss how long a knee replacement should last for, I really want you to look at this information through the lens of your broader leg mechanics so that we can have a conversation about fixing the entire mechanical chain, not just replace something that's become dysfunctional. Because if you are a member of the channel, in the extended version of this video, I just want to go through a handful of very simple exercises that I think you should at least be attempting or trying or testing out for yourself, just to make sure that your recovery from your total knee replacement is as optimal and thorough as possible. So let's get to that study. So the study that I'd like to draw your attention to was a systematic review and meta-analysis performed about 5 years ago. So what's interesting and important about this study is that it was a systematic review and a meta-analysis. Ultimately, the information from this study was based on approximately 7,000 knee replacements, the majority of which were total knee replacements, and about 700 of them were partial knee replacements, which means they only replaced part of the knee joint. And when looking and analysing the data, they found that of the total knee replacements, approximately 80 to 85% of those lasted about 25 years. So realistically, if you are having your knee replaced, either a full knee replacement or a partial knee replacement, a good rule of thumb is that you should expect that to last approximately 25 years. But like any of the results from studies like this, we always want to take them with a grain of salt. It doesn't guarantee that yours will last for 25 years. It may last less, it may last longer, mainly because what we don't necessarily understand from those 7,000 people is we don't have 7,000 individual rehab programs jotted down to understand how they went about their program. Maybe some people didn't do anything, maybe some people did everything. Most people probably fall somewhere in the middle. We don't necessarily know what they did, if they did anything at all. From a physiotherapy perspective, the majority of people who have a total knee replacement have to do some form of initial knee mobility exercises, some quad and VMO strength exercises. If you're lucky, you might be given some hip strength exercises as well. And the main goals for most people is to get that knee moving and get the musculature around your knee functioning as good as possible, as quickly as possible. But as I mentioned before, instead of us just intuitively thinking that the quality of the knee replacement, the quality of the surgeon, as being the major factors that will dictate how long that knee will last for, we also need to factor in the quality of your leg mechanics that you're putting that new knee into, whether it's the impact on the muscular function around your knee, how much resting tension is in the knee, how your knee is loaded within the lower half of your body. Each one of these things that aren't your knee may have just as big an influence on determining whether your knee becomes worn, torn, and degenerative enough that it needs a knee replacement. And again, I've said this a few times, but I want to reinforce it. If you put a brand new knee into the same rusty, suboptimal environments, then you may just be starting that process all over again of just slowly chipping away at how that knee feels and functions over a long period of time. But it goes without saying that now that you have a new knee, or now that you may get a new knee in the future, we really need to take time to solve these problems so that that environment improves and your new knee has the capacity just to function like a new knee forever. So if you're a member of the channel, I just want to go through some of the exercises that I give my patients clinically to hopefully help address some of those dysfunctions. So at the end of the day, well, a study like this one highlights that if you have your knee replaced, it may last you for 25 years. The way that you load up your leg, not just how your knee functions, may also help determine the longevity that you have from that new knee. If your ankles are restricted, if you're missing some hip rotation, if your glute strength isn't necessarily where it could be, if your lower back function isn't as good as it could be. Each of these things clinically have a dramatic influence over how you load up your knee and potentially how you've loaded up your knee for your entire life, irrespective of any injuries or other issues that you've had within that timeline. And it makes sense intuitively that if we don't also work on trying to correct or improve those overall leg mechanics before you have your knee replaced or after your knee has been replaced, then we may not necessarily give that new knee any more of a chance to thrive any more than your previous knee may have had. So please be aware that the things you do above and below your knee will influence how your knee feels and functions. And if that knee has been replaced, then it may just have a strong say on how long that knee replacement will last for. So with that being said, if you have any questions, please let me know in the comments down below. If this video was insightful for you, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel. Please consider becoming a member if you want the extended cut of this video, where I go through 4 exercises you can do to try and help improve your mechanics. But as always, I genuinely hope that was helpful, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.